Today we're going to be looking at Huldah, the prophet. And you can see behind me, this is the Huldah gates. If you've been to Jerusalem, this is on the south side of the Temple Mount. And you can see the Huldah gates behind me. They are boarded up now. But we find the story of Huldah in 2 Kings 22. And Hilkiah, the high priest, the Kohen Hagadol, had said to Shaphan the secretary, "I found the scroll of the Torah in the house of Adonai." And they gave the scroll to Shaphan, who read it. And then Shaphan, the secretary, went back to the king and gave the king this report. "Your servants have poured out the money found in the house and handed it over to the people supervising the work in the house. The Kohen Hagadol gave me this scroll, and they read it aloud before the king. And after the king heard what was written in the scroll of the Torah, he tore his clothes." Now, that's one of the things they did, is they tore their clothes. It was a sign of mourning. And so he was mourning for what he had heard, and what the people had not been doing. So he tore his clothes. And then the king issued this order to Hilkiah, the Kohen, and said that they should go and consult Adonai for me. And we know that Adonai is Yad-Heh Vav-Heh, the presence in the burning bush. And so he said, "Go and consult or intercede before Adonai for me and for the people and for all of Judah in regard to what is written in this scroll. For Adonai must be furious at us, since our ancestors did not listen to the words written in this scroll and didn't do everything written there that concerns us." So the priest sent for Huldah, the prophet. She was the wife of Shallum, the son of Tikva, the son of Harkas, the keeper of the wardrobe. And she lived in the second quarter of Jerusalem. And they spoke with her, and she told them, "Adonai, the God of Israel, says to tell the man who sent you to me that Adonai says this: I'm going to bring calamity on this place and on its inhabitants. Every word in the scroll the king of Judah has read, because they have abandoned me and offered to other gods, in order to provoke me with everything they do. Therefore my anger will burn against this place and will not be quenched. But you are to tell the king of Judah, who sent you to consult Adonai, that Adonai, the God of Israel, also says this: in regard to the words you have heard, because your heart was tendered, and you humbled yourself before Adonai when you heard what I said against this place and its inhabitants, that they would become an object of astonishment and cursing, and have torn your clothes and cried before me. I have also heard you, says Adonai. Therefore I will gather you to your ancestors, and you will go to your grave in peace, and your eyes will not see all the calamity I'm going to bring on this place." So they brought word back to the king. And so basically it was Jerusalem, the calamity that was going to come upon Jerusalem. And we know that Yeshua, Jesus, also prophesied this, that the temple would be destroyed, not one stone would be left standing. And this took place in 70 AD when the temple was destroyed. But when we look at Huldah, she was a prophet. And a lot of times people don't really realize how much part women had to play in the scripture, that women were prophets, that Miriam was basically a prophet and a song leader. Huldah, she is living in what is referred to as the second quarter of Jerusalem. But when you look at the Hebrew, what she really was living in was a college. She was an instructor there, I feel quite certain to say, because she lived there. And they sent for her to interpret what the Torah said. So she was a very educated woman. She was a scholarly woman, and she was a prophet. So they listened to her as to what she had to say when she read the scroll and when she went before Adonai to see what the word would be. And so we're going to be looking at some of the different places. Hopefully you'll be able to see on some of these visual tours with me. And again, I am in front of the Huldah gates. She is in 2 Chronicles and also 2 Kings. We see her reference in her story. And you can see the archways behind me. And this is one of my favorite places in Jerusalem, is to be on the southern steps. And these are the steps that Yeshua Jesus would have walked up. One of the interesting things when we go on our tours in December, into November, December of 2021, and then the special women's tour for only about 10 to 12 women this spring of 2021, this is one of the places we'll be. We'll be standing on the southern steps. We will be standing on the steps that Yeshua Jesus himself walked up many times, as well as the disciples. And they've they've uncovered the pilgrim road from the south coming into Jerusalem. And hopefully when we go down into the city of David, because a lot of it is underground, it's excavated, we should be able to see this pilgrim pathway that led all the way from the southern end all the way up to these southern steps, and where the people would go through the Huldah gates that are behind me. I hope you'll comment. I hope you enjoy the teachings that we're going to have, and we'll be looking at the Eastern Gate and seeing prophecy there, as well as looking at some of the other places, the Sea of Galilee, a sunset cruise. And although you may not be able to go with me to Israel, maybe you can enjoy some of the pictures and some of the teachings. Thank you for being with me, and I hope you'll enjoy coming again and watching and listening. Shalom, shalom.